Hello, everybody. Good evening, Petersburg, Saint Petersburg. My name is Stanley. I'm glad we can be here. We are also hiring if you are interested. Everybody's hiring. I'm working at Kiwi.com as head of booking. And today I would like to tell you something about us, about our company. We are today, it's already former startup. Which grew up very fastly, and I would like to share with you a few lessons learned from our journey, and I hope you will be able to use something from this presentation, and maybe it save you a lot of energy, time, or money in your project, in your work. So let's start, if it works. Cool. Let's start with a story. How it began, like whole KiwiCom. Approximately 6 years ago, one guy had a dream. He wanted to visit Portugal. So he searched for a flight ticket, and the best deal which he was able to found was approximately $300. But there was a problem. Guy had limited budget for this trip. So and he know that there is a lot of low-cost carriers which are flying within the Europe for really low prices. So they know that there must be a better way. So we sit down and spend 2 days for searching for a flight, like, just to try find better combination, something better or something cheaper. And indeed, after 2 days of manual searching for flight tickets, he was able to find a better deal, like connection flights from Prague through Barcelona to Lisbon for around 80 euros. It's a big difference, 300 versus 800. Sorry, 80, not 800. It's also a big difference. So everything was fine. Guy visited Lisbon. It was probably a cool trip. But guys were smart and know that what the fuck, like there must be a better way how to do it. Like instead of searching 2 days for a ticket manually, there should be something what is able to give it to you for within 2 seconds or something like this. So he came back from a trip, came home, find another smart guy. They opened the Python tutorial and start coding. They integrated several airlines. Write down the like simple combination engine, storage engine, order processing engine, and voila! After a few weeks or months of the development, they had first prototype. They launched it, and the story began. It wasn't easy from the beginning, but slowly getting there. Few bookings start coming. They managed to get an investor, so it means more people, more development, more content, and it start growing and growing. Everything was super fine. Guys were like this. He's actually the guy, CEO. No, like just kidding. And business growing, and just growing. But of course, it's not always just beautiful. After a few months, actually there was problems from the beginning. There was already problems like bugs and stuff, everything. But I wanted to tell you about one specific one. Like where the problem really had started. It was year 2014, one shiny day. One of our partners, actually from Russia, dropped us an email with some information that, hey guys, you have really good prices. Yeah, it's cool. We are doing good job, right? Hell yeah, we are really good. Everybody was happy. Sales were growing like never, really fast, biggest expansion. Everybody was super happy, fine. But after a few days, another partner wrote us that, hey guys, you have really good prices. And that started to be suspicious. Like there must be something. And actually there was. Periodic task, which should update the prices, stopped working. Sorry, not prices, currency rates, stopped working. And what it caused, what it means, or what happens actually, why it stopped working? Because simply website which we were using for taking currency rates disappeared. They deleted it. Our API were returning 404. When it happened? Month and a half ago. What it meant? Ruble was that day at 90, like 90 rubles for $1, and in our database it was 60. So we had really good prices. It almost ruined the company, but we managed to survive it somehow. I don't know how. But that day we learned two super crucial and big important things. One, and you should follow it during whole life. If something looks too good to be true, then it's probably not true. You have probably big problem. Check it. And the second one, we definitely need some better vision into our system. And what we actually needed was start enabling monitoring, alerting, and some logging. There are several stuff what you should monitor. I will not go to the DevOps stuff. I will be more talking about application and Python way of monitoring. What you should monitor? First thing you need to definitely monitor is uptime of your services, of yours and of services you are using and you rely on. For example, API for currency rates. Beautiful example. Also, every your service should have some specific ping endpoint or status check endpoint, ideally, which should be all the time monitored, so you know when something bad happened. There is a lot of tools you can use it. This is an example of one of we are using, Pingdom. It will tell you a lot. It will tell you how you are available in what part of the country, what part of the world. It will measure your like some 95% in medium up response rate and stuff like this. This is the first monitoring you should definitely adopt. This way. Second type of monitoring is error reporting. Basically, every time when when your code raised traceback, you want to know about it, ideally immediately. You don't want to have this traceback hidden in some logs on the server where you are not looking all the time. There are again a lot of tools you can use. We are using, for example, Sentry. This is how it looks like. It can do some aggregation of regression of errors. You see how often they are happening, how many people are affected. Use some graphs, and also you can open it and see traceback, see some meta information like from what devices, and pretty a lot of useful information for debugging your application. And the last monitoring monitoring type I want to mention is so-called application performance monitoring. And when it could be useful for you is, for example, imagine like our story continue, we were still growing, and in our year, I don't know, 2015, we integrated like we made a deal with a new partner, and our traffic doubled. And after a few days, customers started to complain that our managed by booking section, basically booking detail section, is somehow slow, that loading is slowly. What managed by booking section means from backend point of view? It's super expensive call, which is taking data from 30 tables from one database, from several tables from several another database, loading some data from cache, hitting several third-party APIs. Well, what can be bad? You have no idea. It could be anything. It could be high-low on one of your third-party APIs. It can be bad index in database, whatever. This is the moment when you should consider adopting application performance monitoring. It will tell you a lot about your requests, about error rates, what is some latency distribution, etc., etc. And for debugging, you can open specific request, and you can see where this request, like what took the most of the time. You can see it very perfectly, and also it will give you some information for debugging. In case the request ended with error, you will see traceback here. In case it's Postgres, if you click to Postgres, you will see which select it was. So really pretty useful tool for debugging big system when you are doing all the stuff in the code and you don't actually know what could be broken or what is taking too long. Cool. Just give me a break. We are going further. Logging. I'm pretty sure, or I hope, everybody of you are logging and have some logs, but a lot of people are storing logs just in some text file on server. Consider to use some smarter tool and why. For example, it's year 2016 now. Your business is still growing. You are total understaffed. You need Python developers, like everybody. For example, this tiny girl. And one day, one customer complaining that 2 months ago he booked a flight, and he's pretty sure he saw different price than we charge him. Sure, we'll check the logs and we'll see. Of course, but it was 2 months ago. Part of logs are log rotated somewhere to permanent storage. But okay, you are able to get it somehow after discussion with DevOps guy where it is. Like, do you have idea? I don't know. I will ask somebody. But yeah, part of logs you get, everything seems fine, and you need to like check another part of the logs for like search result. But these logs are pretty big, and it somehow disappeared. So your developer spent 3 hours of time, and he found nothing. And this is the last thing you want as like in this situation, like spend 3 hours of developer time for searching logs with no response, with no real result. This is pretty good to adopt some smart tool for logging. There are self-hosted or hosted solutions, and this is how it looks like. For example, Logs.io. Here you have all logs. Basically, almost every key is indexed, and you can easily find whatever logs you want by typing a query. What is even better, you can delegate this to your QA. You don't have to do it as a developer. And last but not least, from this part is incident management. Basically, all these monitoring tools are pretty good, but in case something bad happened in the midnight, it's pretty good that you will wake up at 10 and you will see it in every monitoring tool. But it's probably too late. So you need something what will start alarming you, call you in the night and telling you that something bad happened. And this is some incident management tool. For example, PagerDuty, what we are using. And basically, it has so many integrations with basically everything what I mentioned. And for example, you will set up some threshold in Sentry, like call me in case like this particular error will occur more than 50 times per minute. You will immediately know about it. It will call you. It will email you, send push notifications, and send a SMS. Doesn't matter. So that's it. This is one part, and a big and important part in your Python stack. You should consider to adopt in some time of your business. Let's go next. We are now in the year 2018, and what happened in the last couple of years, like in the last 5 years? Our business grew a little bit. This is how it's currently look like. Approximately 2.5 million line of code. A lot of running services, a lot of repositories, a lot of employers. We are basically relocated every day. We are relocating one small city from our part of the world to the other part, and that's little bit different scale. Imagine that something like fuck up with rubles would happen now. It will be disaster after in a few minutes if we would not adapt these monitoring tools. But this super growth, everything is shiny, everybody is happy, of course, but it caused us something. And what was the cause of this super growth? The main point till now, it was write as soon as possible, like deliver MVP 80% 80% working solution, but deliver, integrate more business, more partners. This caused huge technical debt. There is absolutely no test. Code is super complex. Code is unreadable because every developer come and write somehow different, put it somewhere just to deliver. And all this together means that it's super hard to maintain, super hard to add new feature. You are adding like feature like I don't know, chair, and you will break the whole building. Yep, that's it. So what to do with it? You need to do two important things. One is adopt some best practices. I will not tell you which one. It's up to you. You should decide. Of course, you should follow PBate and stuff like this. But what is more important, you need to do two steps. Clean the old code immediately with your new best practices, and make sure that all new code will follow these practices and nobody will just start ignoring it. Here there are several tools which can help, and I will talk about them in a minute. Another important thing is start refactoring. Like refactor basically all the time. Last year we are refactoring every day. You can do it in two ways. If you can afford it, rewrite it completely. Especially MVP solutions, don't let them to become legacy code. Try to rewrite it immediately. But a lot of cases, for example, your core search or core order processing can be just simple switched. Then you need to refactor it somehow. And if you don't know where to begin, there is again some tools which can literally help you. So back to the tools. Can you raise the hands who know this tool? Black? Nice. Black is uncompromising code formatter. What does it mean? Black people specified some format how the code should look like, and it's uncompromising. You can't change it. So when you adapt it, you will hate it totally from the beginning. Your developer will hate it, but after a while you will fall in love to Black. Why? Because when you have 20 developers in one repo, everybody has some different formatting types. Everybody likes something different, like, oh, I would like to have imports like this. I want to write dictionary like this. Then you are going to code there something and reading the code, and you spend like a lot of time just reading a code. So Black will do something like this. basically from this code it will format it in very nice way, and it will do automatically. Like you can add it to your pre-commit, and Black will reformat like before every commit you are going to trigger. Black will format your code. Pretty useful. Try it. You will love it. Another super good tool is Cola. Cola is basically some interface which allows you to trigger some beers. Beers are some Cola plugins which are doing some code analysis, basically some linter, and you can fix your code and help you to refactor the code a little bit. For example, sorry, imports and stuff like this. This is you can run Cola as a script, and you will get the response like, oh, I would change these imports in this way. Like this should be removed, put it here to have it sorted. Some like there are some space inconsistencies and stuff like this. Again, very good tool to keep some consistencies and write code in a nice way. And pretty useful tool for SonarQube for refactoring is SonarQube. SonarQube, you will run your code base from SonarQube, and SonarQube can help you to detect bugs, code smell, and vulnerabilities in your code base. So in case you are struggling like where I should start with refactoring, run SonarQube and I will tell you like this function is super huge complexity, start with this immediately. It can also log like during the time some metrics, and you can see how you are doing, like if you are going good way or bad way. So you can see your technical debt, for example, 67 days and stuff like this. Test coverage, etc. So cool. We have tools. We have some best practices. But how to make sure that everybody will follow it? Trust me, you don't want to trust 100 developers that everybody will follow it. No, they will not. So we adopted something what is known as continuous integration. Basically, it's modern development principle, which our main goal is to reduce the so-called integration hell. A lot of companies are working in the style that we will like they are having some sprints, 2-3 weeks, and at the end of the sprint, they are pushing everything to release. Like they try to merge all the code from all developers, and it's out. Like it's maybe work for some big corporates, but it's really not effective, especially for smaller companies. How many of you are working in some startup or some company like, I don't know, up to 20 developers? How many of you want to work for a startup or some company? This is why. Continuous integrations, pushing your developers to commit and to push the code several times a day. Like every time when you have some smaller logic unit, push it, and when you push it, it will trigger. It will trigger a so-called pipeline, and it fails or it passes, and there's some process behind. What is important thing is this pipeline. Pipeline is some chain of steps, chain of jobs which are running some scripts. Pipeline should definitely have two important steps or stages. First one is build, and second one is tests, like run the unit and integration test. But you can also add here into the pipeline static analysis tools, which we are mentioning, like SonarQube, Cola, or Black, and you can be sure that everything what is going to production passes this pipeline, and nobody will cheat you. That's use Black. You don't. In case pipeline pass, then it's going to the next steps, like review, deploying to staging, to create it, quality assurance testing, and then deploy. There are several tools again which you can use for continuous integration and pipeline running. We are using GitLab CI because we are developing in GitLab, and this is how our pipeline in our main booking repo looks like. This repository has more than 100,000 lines of Python code, like pure Python without tests and anything. But it's still manageable to do some nice stuff here. Here you can see the linters and the build, test, SonarQube, and the deploy. And we are deploying in the way that you will just open the pipeline in a GitLab and click on the button and it's deployed to Canary, to production, or to workers. How? We are using Crane, which is GitLab CI image for upgrading services in Rancher. Our code is running in Docker containers and it's orchestrated by Rancher. So in case somebody of you are using this combination, GitLab CI and Rancher, feel free to visit this link. Crane is developed by one of our developer, Bence, from platform team. Feel free to start using it. It's pretty super to just click on the button and you have code released in the production. Also, if you are interested, feel free to submit issues. Feel free to fix some issues, even better. It's open source. That's it. That's how we are doing. And what will come next? Our next step and dream, not dream, do be next step, is continuous delivery and continuous deployment. It's like another part after continuous integration. What does it mean? Basically, automate everything what is possible. So after your pipeline passes the continuous integration, then deploy to staging, some test, acceptance test, and deploy to production. The only difference between these two is this step, deploy to production. In continuous delivery, it's a big difference from business point of view. In continuous delivery, there should be still somebody who will manually trigger it. But it could be a product manager. You don't have to be developer or DevOps engineer. Because everything else is automated, you just sometimes need to make sure that releasing this team and this team are somehow working together and you will not break something, stuff like this. Or it's not time to release this feature. And continuous deployment is basically you will commit the code, everything is okay, it will slowly deploy to production, and voila. Both are good. It depends on what business you want to do. This is it. And the three takeaways you should take from this presentation. Try, fail if it is necessary, and learn. Don't be scared about trying new things. Don't be scared about making mistakes. What is much more important is the last word, learn. Try to build your environment, your team in an honest way, honest environment, blameless environment, and every time when somebody fucked up something, don't hide it. Show it everybody, learn from it, and prevent it from happening in the future. This is super important, and it will give you a lot of in a team, in a company. You will have much better knowledge, and you will feel much more comfortable in the work. Second point: use tools, use libraries. Still try to improve everything. Like try new technologies. Don't try to develop everything under the hood. Don't try to do everything in your own. Focus on your main business. Be the best in your business and let the other people be the best in their business. Don't try to do something what somebody already did. Feel free to use tools, it will help you a lot. And the last thing is common sense and beard view. Every time when you are doing something, think about it rationally, like common sense all the time. In every step, in every time, in every period of time in your project cycles, or you have company or will have company, in every moment you need something else. It was pretty okay that we built this technical debt, because otherwise we would be maybe never here. In case that the guy from the beginning who had a dream started writing continuous deployment in that moment, I would be not here today. Kiwi would probably don't exist. So every time have a common sense and do what you need to do in this moment. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you. I personally liked the takeaways. We have plenty talks ahead of us, so we're in for a quick QA session, and please feel free to ask a couple of questions to our speaker. Who would be the first to ask them? Yeah, Dima Limov.
Thank you. I have two questions actually. First, can you say what tool you're using for performance measurement?
The phone measurement?
Performance. Application performance, yeah. Datadog or
Datadog, yes.
Datadog.
Yeah.
I see.
This picture was for Datadog.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Sorry, I didn't mention it.
Yeah, thank you. And the second question about what was your first steps to when you got your MVP or your project done? What was your first steps to improve your project? You started from tests or from code review, cleaning your code, etc. It's a hard question.
Now or 3 years ago? 3 years ago, there was just MVP and it became legacy code. Because few hours later, we started working on another MVP, another feature. Now we have much more developers and much more resources. Now we are trying to don't do MVP and ugly solutions. Now we are really trying to basically every new feature or 90% of new feature at least in my team is new feature, and there is a lot of refactoring hidden because we need to do something with it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, another question? Anyone? Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I have a small question about the logging part. What is the size of the log files that are uploaded to the solutions, like logly, and if you have any idea? Thank you.
I think we have something like in just our main repository is backend. There's something around 50 gigabytes per day. But there are also teams where it is much more. I think it will be in terabytes. For example, search or logs from engines. There is much more. Welcome. It can handle it without problems. Basically, under the hood, it used to be Elasticsearch. The problem is when you have really large dictionaries with a lot of keys, because everything should be indexed. This is much bigger problem than like horizontal scale. Or this is bad. This is good.
Okay. I guess that's it. Thank you. Thank you.